Hello, welcome to 2014. I'm your host, Uncle Dave Lewis, and we're going to listen to a Rodeheaver record. I hope that you all enjoyed your holidays. I enjoyed mine, and during the holiday, my friend Becca suggested that given my enthusiasm for Rainbow Records, that this one would be a good one to share. It is a late Rainbow record, and you'll note I've fixed the problem with my webcam. You will now be able to see, somehow, the label in the proper inversion. This is a late Rainbow. It was pressed by Jeanette, and of course they didn't go with the lovely 4-color label. Instead we get a gold and red label in which the big musical note at the top looks like a smudge. However, this is Rainbow 1092, and was recorded in the summer of 1923. Homer Rodeheaver singing with the Wiseman Sextet. The Wiseman Sextet was an African-American church group that was led by Reverend Thomas H. Wiseman, and they were based in Chicago in the early 1920s. And by virtue of Homer's involvement, these are among the first integrated records ever made, or rather that we know of. There are some earlier ones by virtue of a fella who was a trombone player in jazz bands, Abe Lincoln, who was half and half, and he was able to pass for white and sat in on sessions with groups like the Yerkes Jazz-a-Rimba Orchestra. However, this is a great deal more obvious. Although I bet you if we go back into the Cylinder times and really understand some of those artists, we'll eventually find an integrated recording from that time. Nevertheless, Homer did a lot of recording with the Wiseman Sextet on Rainbow, and the Wisemans also made their own records. This record, number 1092, is interesting in that the one side was recorded in Rodeheaver's own studio in Printers Row in Chicago, and the other was recorded in the Jeanette studio, or rather Star Piano Company, in Richmond, Indiana. And you can hear the difference between the acoustics of either side. We're going to first hear is this titled exactly? Walk in Jerusalem Just Like John, performed by Homer Rodeheaver and the Wiseman Sextet in the summer of 1923.
walk in Jerusalem just like John.
Now, as I mentioned, that side was recorded in Rodeheaver's studio in Chicago. This side was recorded instead at the Star Piano Company in Richmond, Indiana. And you'll note that the sound is more direct and, however, less spacious, because Homer's studio was in a place that had tall ceilings, whereas the SPC studio was naturally dead, like a radio recording studio typically would be and is now. So here we go. This is the Gospel Train.
Get on board, little children, get on board. Get on board, little children. There's room for many a more. Get on board, little children. Get on board, little children. Get on board, little children. There's room for many a more. Train am a coming, I hear it just at hand. I hear the car wheels a rumbling and a rolling through the land. Oh, get on board, get on board, get on board. There's room for many a more. Oh, get on board. Get on board, get on board, there's room for many a more. I hear the train a-coming, he's a-coming around the curve. He's a lynx and all has steam and brakes, and a train in every nerve. Oh, get on board, get on board. Get on board, there's room for many a more. Oh, get on board, get on board, get on board. There's room for many a more. Still carries sleep and all can go. The rich and poor are there. No second class aboard this train, no difference in the fare. Oh, get on board, get on board, get on board. There's room for many a more.
Several things interesting about this record. First of all, a fellow like Abe Lincoln, who is would be in a situation of trying to fit in with a white group, and in fact passing as a white musician. In this situation, we have the opposite situation. Shut up. Shut up.
Suspicious item
Shut
has been
up.
detected.
Will somebody please tell me how to get rid of that thing? Anyway, now I'm distracted. Homer was in a situation where he was performing with an African-American group and managing to fit in just fine with them, which was kind of unusual in those days. Secondly, the style of interpretation, although it is a little polished, reflects the sound of African-American gospel at a time when instruments were banned from services. It was purely an a cappella style, and that of course, would change radically with the advent of artists such as Arizona Drains in the 1920s. I'm going to get off here before I get any more alerts from my computer, and I thank you for your patience. I've been Uncle Dave Lewis. Thanks for joining me.